Ladies, good afternoon. I'm going to try to sit here.
Hi, Maria.
Hi. So why don't you guys first define what is co-market? What is co-sell? What does this really look like?
Sure.
You know?
I think. Try this again. Hello? There we go. One begets the other, and whether it's co-selling or co-marketing, it's all about scale, right? It's about increasing your reach. And when I was thinking about some of the questions prior to today, I went very quickly from the tactical definition of what co-sell and co-marketing is to thinking about what does this actually mean for me. I'm blessed to work for a large organization. I know the profile of other large partners that we work with, but just because another partner's large or we happen to be a large organization doesn't necessarily make it a right fit. So I think co-sell and co-marketing, to go back to the definition, is when you have a true partnership where you're scaling and it's actually making you better. No different than our personal relationships. Any partnership should make you better, and it should improve what you're currently doing.
So I'll just add to that. I think in the context of cloud, the industry has really gone from, when we used to sell, software landing on top of hardware, reps were trying to sell these big multi-year deals and sell the SKUs, and then they'd come back in a few years and see how it was going. Now everything's about consumption. So when you're partnering with a big company or when you're the application or the services person, understand a lot of your value to that bigger company is how you help drive more consumption on the platform, because that drives stickiness, and for the sales rep who you're dealing with tactically, that helps them get paid.
So, so these modern partnerships are clearly effective, right? Oh, yeah. So tell me again, why are they so effective from the large enterprise standpoint?
So from an effective standpoint, I think it all, like with anything, starts with the planning. And one of the first things I did stepping into this role was create a set of value categories. What makes a good, strong partner for Hitachi Solutions? And in doing that, I'm able to use it as my first filter. But when I think about so many of the women that I meet here at the conference, every single one of you, regardless if you're 1 or 2 or 20, should have your own set of value categories, what's important to you. And some of those categories could include basic stuff, geographical presence, or how is their training program, how do I align with their field. But then there's also important things like culture and what happens, how do difficult customer situations get remedied. Let's make sure we don't do finger pointing. So I encourage everyone, before you even take the step in reaching out to a company, what are your value categories? And for anyone who's interested, my contact information is in the app. I'm happy to send you the list that I put together.
I would just add, I think understanding your value prop, both to the end customer, what you guys can bring together, and your value prop to that partner, and what you help them do either better or more of, is critical. And that's going to help you get access and scale the business. And you know what? It's great when a partner hears a request from you, but it's even better when your customer goes and tells them, hey, I need you to work with Maria's company.
Right. So I did the value prop. I made all kinds of Excel lists and decks that look really great for you guys. How do I gain access? What am I doing? How do I get to you?
Really great question. So it's one thing to send us an email and we're not sure who you are and we get your value prop, but where people have gone further faster with me is when they have engaged at a local level and they can tell me a story of where they've invested, done due diligence on your customers. Here's a use case, and maybe we're not even doing business with Acme Insurance, but here's a way your product or service partnering with Hitachi Solutions can help us perhaps break into a new market. So extending beyond just the standard deck, but get creative and kind of create that scenario. What's important, to you? Well, as alliance partners, we need to bring successful, profitable. My customer, let me back up. My customer is, and what I tell everyone that I work with, my customer are internal people. There are field folks. There are delivery people. What do you bring to the table that's going to help a seller sell faster? And get really specific with use case scenarios. Just make one up, throw it on the table. That thoughtfulness goes a long way.
So I agree with everything Sharon said, and I would just add, all these companies have partner programs. And yeah, if you're the big guy, you get a lot of attention, but there's a way to go in and participate in a scale model and get started. So that can mean certifications, that can mean getting together a basic value prop and solution brief. That'll get you in the door and make you look established. The other thing to think about is most of these companies, any of the large guys, Microsoft, Amazon, I'm with Red Hat, we have this too, we're going to have sales teams vote, in addition to being geographically focused, they're going to be vertically focused. And in some cases, with applications and ISVs, we're going to be focused on specific segments. So we have people who look specifically at AI applications, security applications, healthcare applications. So you may be able to find those people either through those scale programs or else go on LinkedIn and hit those keywords.
So again, you guys talk about there's the access. We've done these things. Give us a little bit of an example of what didn't quite work out.
I would say a egregious scenario is where the expectations weren't established up front. And again, even if you are one or two person operation, making sure that upfront contract, when something does go wrong with the customer, and something always goes wrong, it's how you respond to it, right? So to eliminate the finger pointing, there have been a few scenarios where it was your delivery team, it's your product, and we're addressing this in a reactive fashion. And at that time, it's too late almost. Customers upset, the team is broken from a morale standpoint. Think about upfront and proactively ask the people that you want to partner with, how do you handle situations when there's an issue with a customer? And not all customers are perfect. Maybe, myself and Aaron, we're doing a great job, but we just happen to have one of those clients. That's a really fair question to ask any potential partnership. Know what their process is and escalation path.
I would just say, in working in technology, I think, all of us on the enterprise side have probably seen this, but if we have people focused on doing a technology partnership and nobody follows through and builds the business plan and gets those sales and marketing teams bought in, you're going to end up with, a press release or a blog announcement, and it's going to sit there on a marketplace somewhere, and nobody's going to find it. So I think making sure you take the planning all the way through is really important, and it's great. Everybody loves a parade and doing the big announcement on the big day, but if you haven't thought it all the way through and you don't have that buy-in, you're not going to translate to revenue.
Good point.
So, so let's talk about action now. Right. It looked like a majority of the room wanted to find out how to engage with two of your companies and figure that out. Like, name 3, 5, however you think makes sense, of what somebody could walk out this door today to say, this is what I need to do to establish these steps just to get your attention at this point.
Go ahead, Erin.
I think, we've talked about it a lot, but I think it's understanding where your value is and where you want to be focused. Are you aligned to a specific vertical? Is it FSI? Is it a security application? And then going out and figuring out who are the people you need to know. Look at the people you do know. Can they help you get there? Or do you need to get into an accelerator or a different program to help you reach them?
I'm going to go, before you even talk to somebody or even get involved with an accelerator program, I'm going to ask you to do an exercise. Take 30 minutes by yourself and fast forward. It could be 6 months, maybe it's 12 months, depending on where you're at with building your business and your partnership ecosystem. And do a future perspective. Write the story of what you want that perfect partnership to look like. I want to be engaged within 12 months. I want to have 2 partnerships. These are the types of partners that I want to work with. Maybe they are equally minded from a minority standpoint. Maybe they are the largest enterprise ones. Figure out what that is. It's a worthwhile exercise, and then go back and visit that another 6 or 12 months later. But before you even take that first step, grab a glass of wine or a coffee and write yourself a couple paragraphs of what that partnership ecosystem needs to look like for you first. You'd be surprised what you're going to come up with and just the other ideas and items that start to flow. Once you have that and tons of confidence behind you, as Erin said, network is king, building that, but then also don't boil the ocean. I mentioned earlier, it's one thing to reach out to people like Aaron and myself, but if you can establish a contact on a local or regional level at a management standpoint. So let's say there's a large partnership, Hitachi Solutions, we have 35 sellers, coast to coast, and then we have other non-direct sellers, so we have quite a footprint. Instead of saying, I want to sell to the country with you, go in, and if you live in Chicago or if you live in New York, find out who the local people are that are talking to the customers that you eventually want to compliment. Take them to lunch, reach out to them, say, I'm curious, what's it like selling your product? What are the other partners that you work with bringing to the table that help you? And you can take all that delicious content, do it as much as you can, and then when you go up and you want to actually make your pitch and send that deck, to read something from someone who's interviewed our field already and has really invested that upfront time, that's going to get a meeting 100%.
That's a great idea.
So we've got a little bit of time. So I think all of the questions we went back and forth in email, we can now sort of, put some stuff. So, but here's one. You just said something, and as a small company like myself, there's a structure, right? Every large company has a structure for how sort of your partnership group or your partnership department, I guess, is set up. And so is it mostly, like you said, start with a local and there? So is finding out what that structure is of that company before you engage, that's an important piece, right? Mm-hmm. And it's all the same? Is it all the same?
If you can, they aren't all the same.
I mean, they are. Are they all the same? No. Somewhat.
No, I mean, they all, with an enterprise field, you're going to have, a very strong sales orientation, but they vary wildly. So you have to network in and get to somebody who can help you navigate.
So the other part is expectation, right? We're a lot of us are, hey, we need to get this contract, and I'd like to get this contract. I mean, what do you think? Let's say everything goes well. Everything goes really, really well. Everything looks great. This isn't something that happens in an instant. It takes time, right? So give us a little bit of insight in terms of setting that expectation.
I think part of that upfront planning before contract, we talked about research, learning the company, getting as intimate with the field as you can. Once you sign the contract, continuing to be proactive. A common question I ask is, what's your go-to-market model? And instead of we're going to figure it out, get in front of a whiteboard, come to the company with ideas. Not only this is how I'm going to help sell or promote your product, but this is exactly how I'm going to align with your marketing team. Sales is an obvious one. And the secret, I think, to cementing this, and I've learned this over working for some fantastic people the last 10 years, report. Proactively push information to your partner. Guaranteed, most of the partners that they're aligned with aren't getting summaries, a Power BI report that shows, here's how engaged I am with your field. Here is a summary of the pipeline, and I don't necessarily have to show you the details of my CRM, but here's a roll-up of the different workloads that I'm driving and that I'm working with your folks. It's a fantastic sales tool. So think of that reporting, what that reporting mechanism could be for you. And it could be something as simple as a spreadsheet. Putting together a heat map. I'm now going to do an inventory of your field, and I'm going to create my own heat map of the relationship maturity, with your folks. And we're killing it in the Northwest. But look, we're red in the Southeast. How can you help me engage? And now you're not talking to me anymore. I mean, you've moved past mine and Aaron's offices. You're working directly with sales management. That's gold to them. And you're providing them insight that they don't have already.
Good.
Yeah, I think that's a great summary.
So one of the things I know, a lesson for me, and you touched on it earlier, Sharon, was how small business have to be ready, and all of the things we have to have, ready. Not just the deck, but this entire strategy about what that is. And I know it varies from company to company. Something I'm realizing as well. But if I, again, if I were to go back to my business and said, I have 3 Excel spreadsheets I have to put together, or 3 documents I have to put together in that thought. Again, what should be those quick things so that things can, again, be expanded by that? It took me 6 months to learn this. right? 6 months. And it made me think about my business differently. So, again, we talked about decks, we talked about whatever, but if I were going to do strategy, what would be the 3 documents I would make?
That question wasn't on the list, but we can come up with something.
Hey, we got some time.
So I think definitely a customer-facing deck would be one.
Yep.
I think an enablement deck for when you get in front of the partner teams and the sales teams. That's going to help you translate your value and really articulate why they want to partner with you. And I'm going to throw in a third that may not be intuitive, but understand how you interact with their ecosystem, because a lot of times the customer isn't cutting the check directly to the big partner or to you. There's another partner in the mix. Right. So you want to understand how those transactions happen and if you need to be communicating to another party to triangulate.
Only to add on to what Erin said, the only other thing that came top of mind, and actually is personally an important initiative for Hitachi going forward in 2020, is a partner-to-partner idea. So P2P is big in the Microsoft ecosystem. So they like to triangulate. And if you can add on to, as part of your pitch deck or maybe even a plan, we're going to crawl first, and here's how I'm going to, and you have the checklist, enable your field, enable your delivery folks, give you demo software, but then here's the next level we can take it to. And perhaps I am a HCM, Dynamics partner, but then I want to go ahead and pull in a Databricks or someone that helps expand on the Azure Data Platform estate. And as a services company, Hitachi, that's all win for you. So if you could understand other partners that I'm aligned with, and then help me figure out how I can connect the dots more. More is better in this case if the relationship is healthy and trusted.
Definitely.
So, and now I'm throwing out things I didn't throw in the questions, but I think for me, again, I'm going through this experience as well, and one of the things is really to keep going, right? Set the expectation. I did all the things. What would you say to women entrepreneurs to say, just keep going? Because there is something at the end of this once you've figured out there's a value proposition. I know for myself, I've been fortunate in being in the accelerator that I've found folks in your positions that have said, no, we're going to keep navigating here, keep going. What would you say to the women out there?
I would say, well, you're all here, so you all believe in the spirit of mentorship, which is key. When you have those down moments, you need someone trusted. Go beyond that, though. Build a personal board of advisors. So when you are at that wit's end or things aren't going well and you feel like you're dealing with this behemoth organization you don't know how to navigate, personal board of advisors are people that you know and that you trust, and start building your network here. 3-4 people, that one from the enterprise, one maybe from an industry, one, you try to figure out who in your network or who knows who that you can take to coffee and say, this is the journey that I'm going to go on right now. And I respect you and love your input. And they've already met you for coffee, they're going to be honored to help you. So mentors are great, but I treasure and value my personal board of advisors that I have leveraged on those days that you mentioned, Maria, where you just don't know where to go next.
Yeah, I think, my thought would be similar. I've never sat in the entrepreneur seat, but we all have ups and downs in our careers. And I think one of the things that I was surprised by over time is how willing people can be to help when you just have the courage to ask.
We've got 30 seconds almost here. Can you believe that? We flew by. So the exciting part is the other side of it. And that's where for me. And so I just want to close with each of you to say, what makes you want to see a woman succeed as a partner? So that's your last 10 seconds each. What is it that drives you, and what satisfaction does that provide you in your life?
Been in tech for 25 years. The stats prove it. When we're involved, when we're invited to the party, things are just better. The results, the financial results are better. So I have a mug. Our Supreme Court judge. It says every room that a decision is being made in is a room where a woman needs to be. So trying to, with that in the back of my mind, make that happen.
I like the saying, you have to see it to be it. And I think the more women that are successful, the more of us that will be successful. So I love this event because we're all here to help each other rise up.
Well, thank you all very much, and please thank Sharon and Aaron on
Thank
their
you.
wonderful insight. Have a great, wonderful afternoon.